I believe that this meeting is being recorded by GCTV, correct? Is that what I got on after you guys were speaking to the GCTV person? Yeah. Thank you. Okay. So we don't need to record, and if anyone else besides GCTV is recording, please let me know at this point. Okay. Hearing none, we can move on. Roll call. Nancy Bershoff, Chair of the Board of Health.
Alyssa Valbona, member.
Samantha McIver, member.
Jen Hoffman, Health Director.
Megan Tudrin, Public Health Nurse.
Nicole Glayback, Health Inspector.
Ruben Arroyo, Health Inspector.
Great. Okay, thank you, folks. First item on the agenda is to approve the minutes from March 30th. Motion to,
Oh, sorry.
go ahead.
I'll move to approve the minutes.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion about those minutes? All good, all right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Minutes approved. Okay, COVID update, Megan. Oh, before we move on, there's an addition. I have a copy on my desk. I'm not sure where Homeless Encampment comes in, but wherever it's listed, I think it's fine. Anyway, you guys will let me know. So, COVID update.
Can I share my screen? Is that okay? I'm going to try to do that.
Sure.
I just made a couple of little graphs. Maybe that's not. Oh, can you see it?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is just from a weekly count from March 1st to now. So we're
Yeah,
slowly increasing up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I did, this is the graph. The blue is from 2020, red is from 2021, and green is from 2022. So our numbers for this, sorry guys. I'm trying to scroll down. Our numbers for this month are much higher than they were the past couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
Today, I got 24 new cases in just today. So I'm guessing within the next few days, these numbers are going to go sky high because of what happened today. We do have a couple outbreaks in different areas of town. The schools aren't too bad right now. They're only getting a few positives each week in their pool testing, which is good news. I think that's probably it. So far, I have 145 cases this month, and we had 97 last month.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Jen, is there anything you wanted to add to that?
Can't hear you.
If we discuss just generalized state positivity, that has been steadily increasing every week. So even though the PCR testing sites are decreased, we're still seeing an increase in numbers. The other thing I wanted to talk about is we were averaging last month about 3 hospitalizations a day in Bay State Franklin, and it did drop down a little bit, but then this morning we had 4 cases in Bay State Franklin. So it was like 1 to 2 for a couple of weeks, and now it's going back up. So we're seeing an increase in hospitalizations. I looked up at Bay State Springfield, and Mark Kerouac was discussing how the numbers have been increasing in Bay State Springfield as well. So we're seeing definitely an increase in numbers again in COVID.
Yeah.
But Megan, do you want to give the good news about the testing site?
Yeah, so I forgot about that earlier, sorry. We are going to get Curative coming to Greenfield. They're the ones that are doing the testing at the South Deerfield Senior Center. They should be starting soon. We're just waiting for the contract to get signed and a little bit of paperwork, but hopefully that site will be up and running at GCC shortly. And that it will be, they'll take insurance, but if somebody doesn't have insurance, then it's going to be no charge.
And is that PCR?
PCR testing, yeah.
Yeah.
And they're coming back with results pretty quickly, within 24 to 48 hours.
Great. So it'll be just GCC all over again, basically.
Yeah, and we did get approved for wastewater treatment testing.
Yeah.
That is in the works. We're just waiting on the company again. Everything is kind of a waiting game, but I've been in touch with them often and they said that they're working on it. We should be getting it soon. And our DPW is on board.
Great.
And we got our second shipment from the state of home test kits. So we have about 5,200 testing kits. I distributed about 2,100 to the COG to distribute out to their communities as well.
Just comments from national level, based on blood tests in our population, and I can't recall, I didn't read about how this information was gathered specifically, but it's CDC information that 3/4 of children have been exposed to COVID, which I thought was pretty astonishing. And the numbers of adults have gone up from 30% to 60%. It's pretty interesting. And a comment from Fauci that we are moving into endemicity, was the word, an endemic phase of COVID. So I was glad to hear that, even though, it's how do you hold both? Here we see cases increasing in our area, and yet there's information out there nationally that suggests that while that is, happening, it is not indicative of, this major surge and a problematic surge. So I'm just holding it all. Yeah. I'm just holding it all. Yeah. I'm just holding it all.
Nancy, one other little thing is that
Yes.
we have had a lot of people that have tested positive in January with the regular Omicron, and now they're testing positive with the BA2, and just over 90 days after. So we're getting a lot of those right now that it's their second
Interesting.
time around.
Yes. And our vice president tested positive after having had the disease and had the vaccine series, and she tested positive. Interesting. Okay. All right. Anything else on COVID before we move on? Okay. So the next item is the Lunt DEP audit, and I just wanted to, say what the status is. Jennifer. Yeah.
I just received the email from the DEP, the lawyer from Rafer, a 502. I didn't read it because she came in just now, but I wanted to let you know, I think you have it as well. So that's just the latest and greatest update. So before the update from the audit itself, we just got an email, just so you should follow up with.
I will follow up with it, just so, and for benefit of folks here, the meeting that we had, Jennifer and I attended, along with the mayor, of course, the licensed site professional. There were the 2 DEP officials from the Western region, the head, I believe, of the Western region, and another DEP official. And really the meeting was just about the process. There was nothing, we reviewed, or they reviewed really what had been done so far, what the licensed site professional and the company OTO had done so far, what the status was of things and how the audit would proceed. And they gave no indication about when the audit would be completed. Just shared with us a little bit about how that happens. We also toured the basements of the two buildings where the passive air system, I don't remember what it's called, but we did have a tour of those two, the two basements that were set up for the passive system, and had these huge PVC tubes that took the air from below the basements and released it out into the atmosphere. So, Jennifer, you want to add something to my brief explanation of what happened at that meeting?
I think you pretty much covered what was covered. I think that we met with the DEP and the other people, like you said, that were involved, and it was really informative. And we did a tour. I was happy with the way that that went down for that meeting and the investigation purposes. I think it was very fair.
Okay. Are there any questions about that we can answer from the board? Anything you need to know, Alyssa or Sam, at this point about that?
I don't think so. I will ask Ted, it seems like you're off mute. Could you mute, please?
Okay.
Thank you.
He's got, yeah, there's a second Ted Burrell on my screen.
There we go. I think we got it. Thank you.
Okay. I believe that the homeless encampment subject is next. Is that correct? Well, let's take, as I said, I didn't have the agenda from the website. Do the rest of you have that up? Okay, well, it needs to be addressed, so why don't we just?
I guess we could cover it now because Mr. Leyva isn't present yet,
Yeah.
so we could give him a few more
Okay.
minutes.
Great.
So the health department gets pretty frequent complaints about homeless encampments around the area. And basically the health department's stance is we're aware of them, we understand, we're working on it. And sometimes it becomes more obvious when people are now out and about in the spring and they're doing bike trails or just walking around and they see it. Nicole had an encounter recently, and she can go over that with you. But we get frequent complaints from people in the community. We normally reach out to a community officer that helps us. And basically the discussion of enforcement came up, and that the health department is the one to enforce homeless encampments because of temporary housing. I sent you the definition of the different housing and boarding and so on and so forth, and the code that would go involved with that. On that note, on Monday morning, I wrote the mayor a letter discussing this topic, and we're meeting with her tomorrow.
Yeah.
I spoke to MJ about it, and MJ it reached out to several jurisdictions, and there's a meeting in a couple of weeks that we're both going to be attending to see what other jurisdictions are doing, along with the social service agencies and their involvement. So it is not like the city doesn't reach out to these social service agencies. We definitely ask for help, and but the city tends to get the outcry from the rest of the public, and I understand that. But it's kind of a multi group involvement. For the city, it is the health department, police department, the DPW, ancillary agencies like for porta potties, and then there's social service agencies like Tapestry, Community Action, ServiceNet. And so I think that something has to get done, because I don't want another tent city in the common if we start enforcing. So before that starts happening, I wanted to come to the board to hear what the board has to say and your thoughts on the process. I also wanted to see if you wanted to wait till the meeting with the mayor and a couple of weeks from now till I hear back from other jurisdictions, because I just spoke to MJ about 15 minutes prior to the meeting. But it's enough where I think my department is concerned and wants support from the board. So Nicole, would you want to give your story, just so you guys have personal background from an inspector?
Okay, so this is my second year playing softball for the city of Greenfield. I played down at the Green River Park last year, where you couldn't see any of the tents or anything. There wasn't much trash. They definitely would come out and like watch us play and stuff, but they weren't noticeable. We had also gotten a porta potty, so that changed things a little bit. But I went to practice a couple weeks ago, and a ball went into the woods, and I went to get it, and it's just absolutely trashed. And it's like right behind the bleachers, very noticeable. Seemed like there was more homeless there than there had been in the past. But when we checked with the police department, they said no. We don't have any trash receptacles down there either. Not that I don't know if they would use them. My biggest concern is someone's kid running in there to go and get a ball. They're not going to know to step over a needle or to step over somebody's bathroom area. So it's going to be a bigger issue if something like that happens rather than trying to fix it now.
I appreciate your perspective on that, and I'm definitely going to go check it out. As I said, I tried to find it and then couldn't, but I will go back. Thank you, Jen, for asking for a porta potty. Did that get delivered?
It did not get delivered yet. We also reached out to the DPW for trash cans to be delivered there. I know that they're backed up with, because they have minimal workers, so I'm not sure if that happened as well. But I will follow up.
Great, thank you. And so the purpose of your bringing this before the board at this point is for awareness, obviously. Is there anything we need to do at this point from your perspective? I saw the temporary housing. Are we supposed to approve temporary housing until we don't, or yeah, so I'm not.
Well, I
totally
think
clear.
I want maybe the board to think about it, and I'm not saying take a stance now, but I do think, I mean, this is an ongoing problem. This is a chronic problem. This has been going on for years. I was reading newspaper articles from 2019, and it looked like there was a solution on the way, and things fell through because they didn't have enough staff to service a building that would be able to hold more homeless people. I think a lot of issues have to do with housing, single room occupancy. A lot of people do not want to use the shelter system. It's a multifaceted issue, but it's an issue that I feel that we need to be engaged in, and with our community partners, because we can't just keep saying yes, 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 we're aware of it, or we're going to leave it up to this or that. We have to kind of, I would want to know what the board feels about being more proactive instead of reactive. It is a concern. There are needles there. We reach out to Tapestry to collect the needles. But there is a big concern. If kids are out, a dog runs back there, anything, it would be a bigger problem. Besides just the homeless people who are living there and in a very unfortunate, situation.
So what, are you asking us to take a stand on like code enforcement? Is that what you're asking us to think about and mull over?
Well, it could be code enforcement. Do you want us to enforce? It could be that. It could be how much do you want the health department to be engaged in this process besides the enforcement? Because there's other avenues that we can go by really just pushing social service agencies, I guess, with the mayor's blessing. I don't know. I think there's many things that the board can talk about and think about how you would want to handle this situation. And the health department would be more than happy to discuss it with you and work out some type of solution. But doing nothing is not working, and saying we're going to wait on somebody else to do something is not working. So we need to find something that's working, because we're having an increase in homeless. People are moving from Northampton up to Greenfield because that's where most of the social service agencies are. It's now springtime. People are moving up here because of COVID. There's a lot more of people that have lost their homes and are now facing homelessness. We could even discuss younger children with LGBTQ+ situations that are leaving their homes because they are not accepted at their homes. There's many, many, many issues.
Right.
And I, as a health director, and my staff as well, I think will agree, we don't like to react to a problem. We like to be proactive so we can kind of work on it and get a grounding on a situation. And I feel that this has been ongoing enough that I could feel it percolating.
Yeah, I think, I mean, I'll speak for myself and say I'm really glad to hear that you're meeting with the mayor and other towns and see what other towns are up to, and that we're working on a porta potty. I have worked in this field for a while, and I do feel like this is a thing that sort of bubbles up every time the weather gets nice, because all of a sudden people can see their unhoused neighbors again. And yeah, I mean, people who don't have homes are our neighbors and they're our community members. And so I'm really happy to hear that's, the approach we're taking. But at the same time, like everywhere else, human service agencies are understaffed. We are having a really hard time hiring. I think that's pretty universal across the board in most industries. And some folks are not, like you said, are not interested in the shelter system. And, not being in a home is not, we want to, I think for my part, I would say we want to make sure that we have a proactive plan. I completely agree with that. I think that's really fantastic idea. We want to make sure things are safe and we have, proper receptacles for folks, but, yeah, we want to give people options when they want them, and when they feel ready or they feel like they want to take them. But yeah, they're our neighbors and they're our community members. And some folks might not feel that way, but it's true. They live in our community.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Alyssa.
I just want to add that I expect to learn a lot more tomorrow. We have a meeting. If Samantha, in just a second, I'll let you speak. But if you're interested in joining us, or Alyssa, you guys are probably both working or something. But 11:30, at
City
Town
Hall.
Yeah, City Hall. And I expect to learn a lot more and be able to, help put something together with the mayor and the departments. So, yeah. Go ahead, Sam.
On the same topic, have we done anything with the campers that are down in the old trailer park? I don't know if that has been addressed at all.
No, but I saw that it had been addressed on one of the city Facebook pages, and the person that usually deals with the homeless said basically they could be there.
Okay, my only concern, I mean, it's an open field, it's, kind of not being used, would be they are there for long periods of time without leaving. I work at Newton, so I see the campers there all day. And where would they be? Are they using the bathrooms in the camper, and where is that being dumped? And if they're not, where are they using the bathroom would be, I don't necessarily have a problem with the campers being there, but then we're also opening up a can of worms on, are we just allowing that being a campground? There was a third camper there that was a new one the other day. It was only there for a couple days. But just kind of where we stand on allowing that and how we are keeping it sanitary.
I'm definitely on the same page as you, Sam, because looking at it from my perspective, when people live in their campers in their own yard, or Mark Snow or Jen or Ruben has to go out there and tell them, hey, that's not okay. You can't do that. That's why this is like a sticky situation for me, because I'm stopping people from doing that in their own houses on their own land. And these people are using public land, doing what they want, making lewd comments when we're playing ball, drinking out in public. It's sticky, but I'm on the same page as you. That's why it's kind of
the other issue is the land and what that's supposed to be used for. It was deemed wetlands. It was deemed unbuildable. We couldn't even put a dog park there. So
right.
I think kind of maybe that's something we need to talk to the mayor with, because I don't believe we're even supposed to be mowing it and taking care of it and doing anything. It was supposed to go back to its natural state. So I think maybe that could be a different thing. We find out what that area is supposed to be used for.
I'm glad you brought it up, Sam, because I will put that on my agenda for tomorrow for the meeting with the mayor, and figure out how to move forward with that one too, or answer questions about, what do we do about that area as well with, and I'm sure if we've got 2 campers now, and a van, that will grow as well. So as Jen, thank you, being proactive. That's another place we need to be proactive.
Yeah, and I think we need to get really creative here, because people who don't live in homes have to live somewhere. And it's not illegal to not own a home or not be a housed person. So we, again, of course, want to make sure things are sanitary. Campers are being dumped, waste is being dumped properly, but we have to help find those solutions for folks, not alone. It's not the health department's job alone, as far as I am concerned. I think, like you said, Jennifer, it's a group effort, and we have to get sort of, it's tough. It's tough when it gets cold here. We have to think sort of outside the box on it. But I'm happy to help in any way that I can.
Thank you, Sam. Jen?
So the campers, we do tell people that have campers to go to campsites so they can hook up to potable water and then dispose of waste. Problem is the cost. But the other problem is, by code, people can't live in campers, during certain times. It's just not allowed. So and that's just Massachusetts code. So again, we're coming up to the same situation. They're not in a tent in a park or, near the bike path. but now they're in a trailer where they do have a little bit better shelter, but where, in the winter, we have to say, no, you can't live here long term. That's just not Massachusetts code. So again, it comes to that fine balance of how far is the health department supposed to go, or even buildings, because if it's an unregistered trailer, or do we get the DEP involved if they're dumping their waste in a wetlands area? That's a concern. So this can get really big, or we can try to really work with our community neighbors to really engage with people a little bit more than waiting for people to come to them, I think, because it's multifaceted, like I said earlier.
Yeah. And do we have anybody from like a unhoused person as like a representative or like a contact person who can join in any of this work? Because I often find that talking to the folks who are directly affected by these regulations that, are there to make it hard to not have a home, in part sometimes. Like working with them and seeing what they need and what they can access can be quite helpful. I know that can also be challenging.
I have a person at the Wildflower Alliance as well as Tapestry Health, and Ms. Ayers, it is a health department issue for enforcement. So that's why we're discussing it. People aren't allowed to camp or have a temporary area. So when people call us to say, what are you going to do? Or there's needles and people are loitering in a park. What are we going to do? So yes, it is a social service issue. And yes, that's why we're here. But it is also a health department enforcement issue and also a police department issue, because they could ticket for loitering. So it's basically everyone getting together to kind of have a group effort to help the most vulnerable in our community. So that's why I brought this up to the board. Thank you, Ms. Ayers.
Thank you. I would like to suggest we move on to other property issues, and we'll come back to the mosquito control stuff, which won't take long anyway, because we have I know there's some other housing inspection issues up. Particularly,
Jesus Leyva is still not here.
he's not here, so we're just not. We won't deal with that right now. If he comes, fine, and if he doesn't, next time. So the property inspections, especially the Coombs Avenue, be good to hear. I read it in the paper, Jennifer. I know what's up, but nice to bring it here and to the board, especially.
Nicole did the inspection, so Nicole, take it away.
So I went yesterday. Miss Easton, who is the one who brought this to light, she wanted me to check out her bathroom. She showed me a before picture. They had put plywood over the wet spot that was under the toilet rather than cutting out the area. They just put it over it. And then instead of putting a non-absorbent flooring down, which you're supposed to have in a bathroom per the sanitary code, he put down carpet. So as much as maybe he was trying to fix it, it's still not, it's still a violation. She's actually moving to a different place, but I had to write another order to correct because nobody technically can live there with that violation. I tried to speak with Mr. Welsh next door because supposedly they had fixed the wall, but he was not home.
Okay. Other inspections and follow-ups, anything else you want to share with us or we need to know?
Yeah, so a while back there was something floating around Facebook about the Weldon and the mold issue. Ruben and I have been tag teaming apartments there. They have been super responsive and have been fixing everything that we have asked them to fix. So that has worked out really, really well. And we've actually like made a good connection with the Weldon and the workers there, and are on like on really good terms.
Yeah, glad to hear that.
Just one other thing with the Weldon, from us meeting there, I was there for the first group meeting, and we are also working with them to have Megan do pressure clinics there, since there's a lot of seniors, and having other topics being brought to the people that live at the Weldon. So we really did establish a great relationship, and also they're asking us to do some pre-rental inspections for them, because they do have some Section 8 apartments. So they weren't aware, and now that's happening. So it was a very good connection and very good opening up. So I really thank the person that was here last time that brought it to our attention.
Great. Good, good. All right. Anything else with property? Yeah.
I was with the Attorney General's office and Economic Development, it was MJ, and a potential receiver, and we reviewed several properties that are en route for receivership. The ones I visited personally and we're moving ahead with at this point is 100 Fairview, 123 Wells, 216 Elm Street, 290 Deerfield Street, 42 Cleveland Street. I still have to go to the Attorney General's office. I mean, the Attorney General's office still has to come back next week, and we're going to look at 20 Meridian, 31 Cheapside, 11-13 Russell, and 14 Water Street. So hopefully we will get a lot of these homes back on the market. And a lot of them are multi-dwellings, so that will be helpful and could serve a lot of people. So we are moving ahead, like I said, immediately with those first 5, and then we have the other 4 to do.
Great. Nice to know there's a big, long pipeline of possible places that can be rehabbed and house, hopefully, some of the homeless folks. Okay. Mosquito control reapplication, just briefly. Alyssa and Sam, I don't think were either of you here when we did the first mosquito control application to the state to opt out of mandatory spraying for, you were here, Alyssa, okay. Anyway, so it was, our application was accepted, we opted out, but part of the opting out is that we are part of a consortium, mosquito control consortium in our area. A number of towns have joined together, and we have a way of dealing with any suspicious mosquito outbreaks effectively. But they require us to reapply and pay money for, to the consortium. Well, that's part of our membership in the consortium. So I put that on the agenda really just to let you know that that's in process. But happy to entertain questions. I don't know anything that there's anything of concern there, but okay. All right. So we do not have Jesus Leyva here, so we are not going to deal with the appeal letter that he has submitted to us at this time. We will defer that. And Jen, are you within earshot? She's not. Okay, you're back. Okay, just want to make sure you were still here. All right, so I would like to then open up for public comments and ask that you limit your comments to 3 minutes. And Alyssa, if you would
I will moderate.
moderate, that's a big help.
Yeah, so if folks just want to put in the chat if they want to comment, or if you have your video on, could raise your hand, and I'll just go in order of whoever I see first there. And how much time are we?
I think, let's see, yeah,
What we usually do, I think.
let's say 3
Mhm.
minutes. I don't know how many, well, we only have, let's see, I have 1, 2, 3, well, 3 people, so 4 minutes.
4 minutes, okay. So the first, I'm clicking through here. I don't see any hands, but I do see Glenn in the chat. So go ahead, Glenn.
Hi, good evening, Board of Health. Thank you very much for allowing public comments. And first, I would just like to say that I appreciate the fact that you have a thankless job and that you take a lot of criticism from all sides. And I know what it's like, having been on a Board of Health myself and also having been a health agent for many years. I know what a tough job it is. So I just wanted to say that to begin with. And so as far as comments, I would appreciate it in the future or at the next meeting if you could give an update on the air quality monitoring project that the city was funded by. You don't have to talk about it tonight. You're not prepared, but I would appreciate regular updates on that. I looked at the purple air map and there are no monitoring points listed on the map yet. So I assume those 10 monitoring points have not been installed. And I have a personal interest in that because I did significant effort in writing the grant proposal that was approved by DEP. And then the second thing I would just like to briefly say is that the Lunt Public Involvement Plan petitioners, which is I think 111 people now, we were excluded from that site visit, as well as the city council was excluded from being able to participate in the Lunt site visit. And that created, as you can imagine, a lot of bad feelings among the PIP folks and also among the city council members who were there. And I think that I'm not blaming that on the Board of Health. Obviously, you take your orders from the mayor's office, but you also do have the city council to contend with. And I think that it would be wise on your part to make an effort to deal with the city council in a more favorable way, if you can, because they are the ones that are approving your budget and writing ordinances for you. The mayor doesn't do that. So those are my 2 comments. I hope that you at some point can address the 6 million gallons of contaminated, TCE contaminated water that is at the Lunt property, the groundwater contamination that is flowing into the adjacent neighborhood. That is going to be a continuing issue. And the fact that it is escaping through the storm drain and spreading into other parts of the city is also going to be a continuing issue. And I hope that the Board of Health can weigh in on that contamination. That's the end of my comments. Thank you very much. And thanks for doing a thankless job.
Thanks, Glenn. Does anybody else have a public comment? I'm not seeing anything else in the chat. Oh,
think,
Ted? Ted? No?
Muted, no.
Hi. Can anyone hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Would you like to offer a public comment?
Sure. I like to say, like, first of all, I like the new style of the health department. Of their the way they're doing business. It's definitely working for me. I've had a lot of history with the health department over the years, so I just like to say that now that I see Jen and Nicole in the same room. And I was recently became aware of someone in Greenfield talking a lot of trash about me, and I think he's using these public meetings as a venue. And I kind of just came here, you know, just to listen. And maybe his name's Jesus, and I've heard he said a lot of damaging, defamationary things about me. And I don't know if anyone wants this. I don't know if he's ever come in this room and said anything, or if he's come to the health department. But my lawyer wrote him a letter to cut the crap. And I don't know. If anyone wants to volunteer anything I should know, I'm gonna start looking for the town calendar and these other meetings, because he's been going to these meetings and publicly talking about me. And I didn't know the man was mad at me. And I just found all this out the past couple of weeks. That's my comment.
Thanks, Ted. Does anyone else have, Melanie, I see you're very active in the chat. Would you like to offer a public comment? Okay, so going once, going twice, public comment. Seems like that's it.
Great. All right. Let's set the next meeting date. Thinking May 25th. That good for Alyssa, you, Sam, Jen? Okay, so May 25th, 5 p.m. I will let Caitlin know to post it.
5 p.m.? Oh, I could do
5
5.
p.m.
That's not.
5 p.m. I haven't heard that I prefer to meet on WebEx, and I haven't heard otherwise. Just wanted to say for the foreseeable future, that's my intention. I think it works well. I think we're all used to it enough. I think we get the job done. We're small enough. It saves on fossil fuels, so we don't have to go anywhere. So just wanted to add that on. And
Nancy, Sam has.
Yes, Sam.
I believe the order for online meetings was only allowed until July, and then you had to offer in person, I believe is what was last put out.
Thank you for that. And I'll keep, I'm sure that I will hear. So I'll pay attention to that. Thank you. Thank you for letting me know. Okay. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll move to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
All in
Thank you,
favor?
everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a
See you
good night,
next
everyone.
month.